Bloodborne, Chapter 5, Valtyr, the League, and the Vermin.
The night brims with the vile scum. It is permeated by the rotten stench. Just think. Now roll your set to hunt and kill, your heart's content.
The beasts and the kin. These are the two types of enemies that we face throughout Yharnam. One is born of the scourge of the beast, humans tainted by the influence of the old blood. The other are ascended humans who have purged their body of the scourge, have become kin of the cosmos, purest of beings. There's something else, though, some strange third thing that seems to be right around the corner, yet somehow avoid our detection. It's almost like there's something we can't just put our fingers on, right in front of our nose. Trying to pinpoint what this is, let us examine Valtyr, the Beast-Eater, and his League of Confederates. We first encounter Valtyr in the Forbidden Woods, where he introduces himself to the hunter.
I am Valtyr, Master of the League. Member of the League, cleanse the streets of old filth that spreads about during the hunt. Like any half-decent hunter, what do you know? Haven't you seen enough of this wretched beast, freakish slugs, and mad doctors? Sentence these fiends to death.
The League appears to have been an organization that exists during the transitory period of German's workshop into Ludwig's. However, Valtyr has been in Yharnam for quite some time. According to the constable garb worn by Valtyr, there's a rather popular fable in Yharnam. Once upon a time, a troop of foreign constables chased the beast all the way to Yharnam, and this is what they wore. The constables became victims of the beast, except for one survivor, who in turn devoured the creature whole, all by himself. As Valtyr's title is that of the Beast-Eater, it's very reasonable to assume that he is the constable from this fable. It was when Valtyr consumed a beast, an utterly unholy act, that an oath rune was born, with him impurity.
This rune, discovered inside the forbidden Beast-Eater, come to symbolize impurity, and the oath of the League. Confederates of the League hunt to discover vermin. Vermin writhe within filth, and are the root of man's impurity. Crush all vermin without hesitation.
When Valtyr performed such a tainted act, he gained the impurity rune and the ability to see vermin, and with this ability he formed the League. The League, dedicated to hunting down vermin, consisted of individuals who were brought face to face with the root of man's impurity and suffered the consequence. We only know of the 3 confederates other than Valtyr. The first is Yamamura the Wanderer, who is described by his garb from the Eastern land. An Eastern warrior pursued by a beast of honorable revenge, and became a hunter towards the League, but when he stared straight into impurity, it drove him mad. It would appear Yamamura's membership of the League was rather short-lived. As soon as the impurity oath was committed, he was driven mad. So while Yamamura plays a relatively minor role in the League, 2 more significant figures are the Madara's twins. From the Butcher's Mask we learn is that the Madara twins, denizens of the former Forbidden Woods, likely belonging to the older of the 2. The twins grew up in silent kinship with the poisonous snake. Eventually they learned human ways and became hunters. When they discovered vermin, even in their beloved snake, the younger brother is said to have murdered the older. Furthermore, we learn from the butcher garb that the 2 twins became hunters and brought back and dissected that beast prey in order to support the villagers in the forbidden research. What was this forbidden research, though, for the villagers? What twisted discovery brought Yamamura to madness? And most importantly, what are the vermin? Some time early in Yharnam's history, a group of foreign constables chased a beast into the city. The beast, however, turned and devoured the constables one by one. The sole survivor was Valtyr, who slew the beast, and in some twisted, maddened hunger for revenge, devoured the beast in turn. This unholy act branded Valtyr as the Beast-Eater. Within him was born the oath rune, impurity. When the Valtyr turned and gazed throughout the city of Yharnam, he found he could now see those who had been impure, tainted with filth. In order to combat this new threat, Valtyr formed the League, gathering a group of confederates and branding them with the impurity rune, so they could see the true root of man's impurity. In regard to the timeline of when exactly this took place, it appears to have been taking place during the time when the Hunters were in the transitory period away from Grumman's workshop, but not yet fully formed with Ludwig's. We see that the Valtyr favoured the Willigag's saw, a weapon designed by the Powder Kegs, and so it's likely that the League was in full force during the time of Old Yharnam. Two confederates of the League would be the Madaras twins, wild folk from the Forbidden Woods, who trained in the art of hunting. The Madaras twins had a great love of their beloved poison snake. Alongside them they grew up together. The Madaras whistle, which is a trinket that they both use, was developed a silent, inhumane kinship. The poisonous snake grew uncontrollably, raised on a healthy diet of beast entrails. And it appears that over time the twins would bring the victims of the hunts back to the woods with them, not only feeding them to their snake, but also handing them over to the villagers to aid in their research, as referenced by the butcher's garb. But what research was occurring in the Forbidden Woods? It's simple: ashen blood. The Healing Church was at this time using Forbidden Woods and nearby poisonous swamp as their laboratory for the research and development of the ashen blood. The Healing Church was studying the parasitic leeches found in the poisonous swamp, not only to develop it for the use in Old Yharnam, but also to discover the source of the poison. The source of the poison, of the filth. Where did this poison come from? You recall the butcher's masks. When they discovered vermin in their beloved snake, the younger brother is said to have murdered the older. A centipede-like creature discovered on successful hunts by League hunters, vermin found in the Forbidden Health, and only seen by League confederates, are the root of man's impurity. The League has assumed the task of finding and crushing all vermin. Perhaps there is some mercy in the madness. Those who wish to see the vermin can, and those who choose to approve, with boundless purpose. The poison swamp was teeming with vermin, unseen by those who had not committed the impurity root to memory. As the Madaras twins slaughtered the infected, vermin-riddled beasts and fed them to their snake, the creature became tainted and riddled with the parasitic creatures. This is the source of the snake parasite of the Forbidden Woods. Vermin infested the local wildlife, and in turn the wildlife infested the villagers. The snakes spat poison at their enemies. The ashen blood turned against the very people who had developed into it in the first place. Ashen blood, the poison, the vermin. Perhaps it is the case that all cases of poison are ashen blood, and in turn all are caused by the vermin. After all, the antidote tablets that were used to treat the ashen blood are still in the circulation today. If we look at the Nightmare Frontier, for example, we can recall the poisonous swamp that lovable, trustworthy Patches knocks us into. Here we find countless leeches and a large creature known as crawlers. Interestingly enough, the crawlers do not take extra damage as their beasts or kin. They are something else. Vermin. Infesting the Lauren silver beast, we find more maggots, like teeming with vermin themselves. We as a hunter, also conditioned to think of poison as something random or neighborless, a side effect that we never stop to think about. The poison is actually, and it is not. And if it is, and if it has a root cause, this would be it. This brings us to the Bloodlickers, large flea-like creatures that are first discovered in Canehurst alongside a group of parasitic leeches. While described as beasts, interestingly enough, they do not suffer from damage bonuses against beasts. They're something else. Not kin, not beast. Vermin. What if the vermin were to infest a human? Not just one or two vermin, but an entire colony of the parasites squirming and writhing with the blood of a human being. No doubt they would be tainted. No doubt they would be forbidden. No doubt they would be vile.